on life, nature, philosophy, yoga, religion, atheism, Buddhism, non-duality, art, music, and wellness. Mostly positive looks at things that will hopefully give you a moment to pause and a moment to take a breath. The power of nature to calm the mind. So that's maybe the title of this podcast, The Power of Nature, The Power of Nature to Calm the Mind, something like that. I just wonder if you're listening to this, if this title attracted you, if you have experienced this just sitting in nature or walking in nature or being around trees and nature and having it give you a sense of peace and calm. And it's something that I find, it's a great sort of balm or salve to, to put yourself in nature. And I just wanted to talk about that a little bit today because, it occurs to me that we do a lot of things. It's not like it's a magic, it's just going to solve all your problems. But when it comes to, this podcast is about, a lot of things like meditation and things like that can help out. And we do a lot of things to maintain our peace and our sanity and our hopefully equal state of mind, right? An equilibrium in life. And, maybe we try to eat certain foods that are helpful for that, or maybe we try to get some exercise and I want to suggest that if you can, as an experiment, and if you're not already doing this, that you try also adding a little bit of nature into your things that you do that help keep you balanced as a person. So I'm really fortunate in that where I live, I'm surrounded by trees. I can walk out in my back porch in my backyard, and I'm looking at them right now through the window, and it is achingly beautiful. I'm looking at the sun hit these green leaves that are blowing in the wind, and it makes me want to go out there, and I'm going to go out there in a few minutes after I'm done recording this. Probably take my dog for a walk on the trail. But I want to just ask you, and as you're listening to this, do you have somewhere that you can do that? I know not everybody has a backyard full of trees. I have family in New York, and they just recently sent me some photos of their visit to the botanical garden, and it was gorgeous, gorgeous. So do you have a park or a trail or something like that? It might just be it might be your backyard, that you just have some trees back there that you can go sit under a tree or something like that. And what I've noticed for me is that nature, being outside and being in nature, it does have a very much a calming effect. I think I've always kind of felt a connection with nature, and I can't really speak for everybody that it's going to have that same effect for everybody, but I think it's generally a universal thing, and I think it probably stems from the fact that we all, A, come from nature, B, probably most of the existence of humanity, we've been in nature. We are now sort of more isolated from nature. And there's some good things about that. I'm not saying, modern houses are bad. If I thought that, I'd be sleeping on the ground, living in a yurt, right? But there are some good things, and there are also, we want to keep that balance too. So I think that the reason that so many people feel a sense of peace and calm and connectedness when they go out into nature is simply because it's probably deep within our DNA, so to speak, that we have perhaps tens of, maybe hundreds of thousands of years have been in nature and a part of nature and one with nature and coexisting with nature. It's only the past few hundred years, maybe, 400 or 500 years, that we've really taken great steps to isolate ourselves from nature. Um, let's see. Let me look at my notes here. I made a couple of notes. I also wanted to talk a little bit about allergies, because even though I have loved um, nature since I was a kid, like I can remember some really, how you have these memories that sort of, you kind of remember everything about them, where what it looked like and what it smelled like, and these sort of indelible memories that you have at certain points in your life. And one of them was an early time. I was probably in elementary school, and I went over to a friend's house, and we were playing in their backyard, which was woods, and just playing like explorer. We were playing wood, we were going and exploring in the woods, and like we were some sort of jungle safari or something. And just going home and telling, my mom, like, oh yeah, I had so much fun in the woods, and I just felt like, just like very much at home there. I just wanted to stay there. So even with all that, and even being in the woods some as a kid, I didn't grow up. I grew up in the city, but there were trees around and things, and we would make little tree houses and things like that. But even with all that, I still am an allergy sufferer. Not really bad, but enough that it's can be significant at times. So I guess I would say it's something that I continue to sort of work on and try to deal with in my own ways, and I don't spend a lot of time trying to figure out what I'm allergic to, and what medications I can take and what medications I can't. I do some of that, but in general, I just go out when I can and only take medication when it's absolutely necessary. But what I would say to you is, if you're an allergy sufferer, probably you already know what you're allergic to. Probably you're already taking some medication, and you probably already have better control of it than I do. And hopefully that's the case. But I would encourage you to not let that keep you from, if possible, if at all possible, be safe first, of course. But if at all possible, don't let allergies keep you from enjoying nature. Of course, there are times when it may just be too much, when something is in bloom that's going to really agitate your allergies, and so that's understandable. Some of the things I love about nature, and I'm going to point these out because maybe you'll see them in a new way. Well, right now, where I am, the smell is unbelievable. I'm surrounded by a lot of just sweet smelling, flowering plants, and I walk outside, and it's one of the best smells that I've ever experienced. The vitamin D, I'm a big proponent of trying to get as much natural vitamin D as possible, and have recently realized that I can't take vitamin D supplements. I took them for several years, and now I can't. So I'm really focusing on trying to make sure that I get it in my diet and get sun. I love the birds. I don't. I'm not a bird expert, but I love seeing them. We have a lot of hawks and crows around here, and I just love seeing them. When I'm out on the little trail we have nearby, walking the dog, so many animal tracks, deer tracks. We have coyotes around here. We have all the squirrels and rabbits and things like that. We have possums and not too many raccoons, but occasionally. So these are things I'm looking for when I see, when I'm able to see tracks. And these are just little things that may help you appreciate some of the things when you're walking in nature. I love looking at the ground. I see new tracks almost every day. And then I'm also watching the dog as to what she'll stop, and how she's smelling something, and what her tail is doing tells you a whole lot. So these are some of the things that I really enjoy about nature. And sometimes I just go out and sit. And certain times of year, I will just lay out and catch some vitamin D. And these are all things that I find add to my sort of equilibrium, along it's another tool like meditating, or like trying to eat food that makes me feel good instead of food that makes me feel gross and stuffed. And so it's just another tool that I do, and I want to if you're in a situation where you can, maybe even once a week, if you can take your dog to a trail, or ride a bike on a trail, or go for a walk on a nearby park, or anything like that, and if possible, pay particularly close attention to how it makes you feel. Do you feel energized, or calmer, or do you feel, and uh, take a minute to stop and look at something. It could be a leaf. I study leaves sometimes. It could be, it could be, uh, when I see a big giant limb that's come down from a tree, I usually stop and look to see, like, is the tree dying, or is that just is that just one limb that came off in the recent winds and storm? It's a part of the process that usually catches my eye. Tracks, um, anything like that. Of course, all the beautiful things, the flowers that we're all attracted to. But just take a minute, if you are, as opposed to, if you're jogging. So let's say you're jogging down a trail or something, or a brisk jog through a trail. Be sure you take at least a couple of minutes to stop and sort of smell the roses and see how that makes you feel. And I guess that's my end takeaway here, is to just as, if you're a meditator, or you're experimenting with meditation, or you're trying meditation, or you've tried it, and you think, but I felt pretty good when it gave me a sense of peace, and you're thinking about how it makes you feel. Try the same thing with nature. Think about how it makes you feel to be out there. And you might go out, and you might be out there and say, I feel exactly the same. It didn't do anything for me, and that's okay too. But it's something to think about. So, if you have a nature ritual, if you have anything like that you enjoy doing, and you want to share it, you can email me at somethoughts@icloud.com. That's somethoughts@icloud.com. So I may, in the future, if I get enough emails, I may share some of these rituals that people have. And by ritual, I just mean, if you like to walk on the trail, or if you like to sit down by a certain tree and read a book, whatever it may be, if you want to share that with me, I may read these in the future on a future podcast episode. And if you'd like to reach out to me and share your nature experience, or ritual, or anything about nature, and you don't want me to read it in a future podcast, totally fine. I'd love to hear about it. Just let me know that in the email. I hope you find some peace and tranquility in nature this week, and I will talk to you soon.